What is up, my friends? It's been a minute, but I'm back. I realized that I uploaded my NPL draft analysis like a month ago because I misunderstood how early or late we were going to be starting, but regardless, we're here with week 1 of the NPL, not the NPL, but the national, it's the national Pokemon, not the national Pokeball. You should get the difference by the thumbnails probably, and by the teams that we're using and stuff. Other NPL should be starting before too long as well, so that'll be fun. And I also should have another interesting, fun little series to do with my good buddy Kyle, K to the 2. That will hopefully be a weekly installment, but of course I do have school, so that might say no. Anyways, week 1, we are here, so I considered not showing my teams off, but I don't really care that much. I trust in my building and I want to reflect on my mistakes and stuff. So mind you, this is my first game that I've had in about 4 months that's like actual draft. Like I played a little bit on the ladder, but not too seriously. So forewarning, I feel like this game I had some serious rust in both planning and playing, mainly playing, but be warned of that. But anyways, I still think this was a good game and I did a good job building. First things first, if you don't remember my team, it is a little different than my draft analysis. I'm not going to link it, but you should know where to find it. Originally we had Lando T, Hydreigon, Lopunny, Skarm, Reuniclus, Whimsicott, Seismitoad, Chandelure, and what was the other mon? We had Shandy and... See, I don't even remember what it was anymore. But anyways, we have Heliolisk and Moltres now, along with Dino and Mariani or whatever. Yeah, I actually do not... I know we had a Chandelure, and... Alright, and we had Magneton, so... my Z-move user previously for low tier was Magneton, so I transferred that over to Moltres, so that should be kind of cool. Reasoning behind this was I came into the draft kind of wanting to use a Moltres, since with more defoggers in Ultra Sun meta, I felt like it could be pretty neat. So yeah, we have Moltres, and I figured Heliolisk would be a decent mon to have. I don't really care about it being electric type, since there's only 4 good electric types plus Stunfisk in the format, but it's got a good speed tier. It gives me another water immunity with some cool abilities to play around with, and a very good special move pool, which I don't really need more special attackers, but I have more special attackers, so yeah. Anyways, my opponent's team, well, first off, introducing my opponent is Illusion, who is part of the Trick of Eye channel, which I recommend you go check out because they're 3 guys who are pretty good at mons, if I say so myself. Illusion is a new member of the NPL Miners, so that's really cool. Good for him. Congratulations. And I knew he was going to be a very tough opponent, and he's coach of the Las Vegas Venusaurs, so minus -few points for that. But anyways, his team is very interesting. It's Blacephalon, Serperior, Azumarill, Snorlax, Komodo, which is his first Z user, Stakataka, Gligar, Mega Sharpedo, Z Electivire, Nidoking, and Linoone. So he has a lot of threats here. A lot of things I had to take into consideration. Blacephalon is a very big threat to my team, given that I don't have anything that really wants to switch into it. Hydreigon resists its dual stab, but a hidden power ice can kind of just blow me away unless I'm a very bulky set, in which case I'm sacrificing speed, which I may not want to do. Serperior can be a little scary. Azumarill is pretty scary. If like he's a belly drum set, he could do something like double belly drum to get rid of my Skarmory so that he can go in with like a Curse or Beady Snorlax or Linoone or something like that, which could be a little threatening. Snorlax is kind of a threat, but I do have some countermeasures. Komodo is going to be annoying, but I was pretty sure it's going to be a physically defensive set with Rocky Helmet, because if you look at his team, this is the only thing that can take any hit from Mega Lopunny. Gligar can take returns pretty easily, but if I'm packing Ice Punch, then it's getting to it KO'd, and like everything else is getting to it KO'd by my dual stab, which is pretty crazy. So Lopunny's a huge threat against his team. So yeah, setup Komodo could be scary, but I'm more anticipating the Fizdef Rocky Helmet setup rocks and that sort of thing. Stack Attacka I'm not that afraid of since I have multiple offensive mons that threaten it, as well as I have mons such as Seismitoad and Skarmory, which should be able to switch into it pretty well. It still could come. I got messed up in a mock, not against this team, but just a little exhibition versus David and his team that had a Stack Attack on and it beat me, but I played bad. Gligar is going to come most likely since it's his only switch into Landorus really, and it can switch into Lopunny if I'm not packing HP. Ice Punch, which spoilers I'm not. Mega Sharpedo is very scary. We both came into this game with the assumption that it could not get a speed boost. It had to Mega first turn. Turns out that it can, but we both thought that it wasn't able to before the match. So essentially we were both prepping with the fact that it was just supposed to Mega right away. Electivire is kind of scary, but it's still an Electivire, so I'm not that scared of it. I should be able to deal with it. Nidoking is a pretty big threat to my team depending on the set, and Linoon, given my team, it shouldn't be that big of a deal as long as I keep my Skarmory healthy if he brings it, and I have plenty of offense on my team to prevent it from ever having a free setup opportunity. So biggest threats to me, Blacephalon, Azumarill is pretty scary, Mega Shark is very scary, Serp, if he brings the right set, can be a pretty big threat to me. What I was expecting, I really thought that Blacephalon would be like a Scarf set, so that he could always have the thing to revenge kill like my Mega Lopunny and that sort of thing. If I'm like Scarf Landorus, he can revenge it, because Scarf Landos, and I mean Gligar walls it, but it's a decent threat to his team if I can get rid of that. Superior, Spooky, figured he'd probably be like a Subseed set or something like that. Azumarill, I was thinking he'd most likely be banded just because since I picked up Heliolisk and I also have Seismitoad, two mons that are immune to Aqua Jet that outspeed it, he's probably not going to be running the Belly Drum set since I can revenge kill it before, and it can't really abuse its priority that well versus my team. Sharpedo, Spooky, Nidoking, pretty spooky, so let's just get into the team builder. So the 6 I ended up bringing were Landorus, Hydreigon, Mega Lopunny, Skarmory, Reuniclus, and Whimsicott, so neither of my 2 new mons came to this game. But Lando's here. I toyed around with the set a little bit, but ended up going with this one. I got Knock, EQ, Fly, Stealth Rock with the Flyinium Z. I have a little bit of HP. I do not remember what it's for. I have 212 attack since that's that hits something for enough damage, and I believe my speed is there to outrun a max speed Nidoking, if I'm not mistaken. I don't think, I'm fairly certain that I was not aggressive with my speed creeps this game. I'm just going to be playing it safe for a little bit to, just get readjusted to draft since it's been a few months. But this set's very good against his team. He doesn't have anything that wants to switch in. Knockoff's really nice. I really want to be able to knock off Gligar's Eviolite because I'm not packing Ice Punch on my Lopunny, so if I can get rid of the Gligar's Eviolite, then Lop just totally breaks through his team. EQ, he does not have good EQ switch-ins, and Knockoff plus Z-Fly just blows Gligar away. Z-Fly also just kind of nets me a kill since his flying resists are like Stack Attacka, which is going to get diddly bopped by an EQ. And yeah, that's about it. Rocks, because rocks, and this thing is nice because it checks some of his mons. Next is my Blacephalon switch-in, quote-unquote. This is a bulky, speedy Hydreigon, U-turn, Dragon Pulse, Roost, Taunt, max HP, 20 special attack, 236 speed timid, so I can outspeed an Electivire. I would have preferred to run more bulk, but I really wanted to be able to outspeed his Electivire and his Nidoking because those are pretty big threats. This set can switch into Blacephalon's Dual Stab very well, and if it's a Scarf set, then I can pivot around boss pretty darn well. The downside to this says I can't touch the Azumarill, but I do have Taunt, so if I do suspect he's a Belly Drum set, and if I'm in a position where I can lose to Belly Drum, then I'm just going to Taunt it. If he doesn't bring Azumarill, this thing has a very good matchup since his Dragon Resists are very poor aside from the Azu, and this thing's speed tier is great. Taunt is also useful for the Gligar to stop it from Toxicking and Taunting, since I kind of suspected he'd be Taunt Toxic, just because it shuts down a fair bit of my team. And Roost is just there, and Taunt's also nice to stop a Snorlax from spamming Curse and Recycle and that sort of thing. So yeah, and U-turn's there so that I'm not like a free switch into the Azu every time. I can get momentum out and that sort of thing. Next, I got my Lopunny, which is probably my biggest threat to his team. I'm rocking a Power Punch set with Fake Out, Drain Punch, Return, and aforementioned Pup. I'm running Adamant, which is really nice because his fastest thing is Superior, so I can run Adamant and still be able to outspeed that, which is pretty nice once I make it up. And the allure to this set is I have several mons that can use knockoff on this team, so if I get rid of the Gligar's Eviolite, or I'm able to pressure it enough where it is weakened to the point where I can just kill it with a +1 return, this thing just kind of goes in. I have good responses to any of his Choice Scarf options that would try to revenge kill me, and this thing is just very strong. Looking back on it, I might not have needed to run Power Up Punch, and we'll just get back at, I'll talk about that more when we're in the game. I'm going to try and not make this too much longer, but he doesn't have switch-ins to this aside from Fizdef Komodo, which is really what I'm expecting. So I'm going to be wary of that. But yeah, that's Lop. Lop just does what it does. Next we have my Skarmory. I'm just rocking Fizdef. This is my Azumarill check. This is my Snorlax check. Very standard set. Roost Spikes, Brave Bird, Whirlwind. Hazard stack's really nice against his team since he doesn't have that many good defoggers. He's got Surf and Gligar, and I don't anticipate that Gligar is going to be wanting to sacrifice a move slot for defog this game. So hazard stack, if I can manage it, will be very nice, though Skarm does allow switch-ins to some of his mons that are very scary. But overall, this set should be okay. Whirlwind is always just a good option to make sure that I'm not total setup fodder for stuff like Snorlax or Azumarill or something of that sort. Next, we've got a pretty cool set. We've got a offensive-ish, whatever, EV regen Reuniclus, Psychic E-Ball, Knockoff Signal Beam, Max HP 148, Special Attack Modest. I have a little bit of speed, a little Spadef, a little here and there. Oh yeah, I forgot to mention we are at level 50, so you probably noticed that. We are on Showdown because reasons. This set's cool. This thing can actually take some hits from Blacephalon, which is pretty neat. It takes hits from Special Komodo, which is more than likely what he's going to be bringing if he does bring it. If it's special, I just kind of wall this thing, which is pretty nice. Knockoff's here for two reasons. One, to get rid of Gligar's Eviolite, and two, to get rid of a Snorlax's Berry on the switch. Because I got rid of Chandelure, it's possible he could just bring a Restock Snorlax, but I think it's more likely that he'll want to pack some sort of coverage option to better hit Skarm and that sort of thing. And the Berry is just a very good option. So if I can knock off Snorlax's Berry, then it's not going to be doing that much against me. E-Ball, Signal Beam there as the coverage moves of choice, so I can hit stuff like Sharpedo and Superior. And Psychic hits his team pretty hard. Like, he doesn't have that good of Psychic switch-ins. I can't hit Stack Attack too well with this set. I could have ran like Focus Blast, but I've got my Skarm which switches in on it, and I can set spikes against it, and I do have Lop and Landorus, which can revenge. And lastly, still looking very weak to stuff like Sharpedo, BD Azu, that sort of thing. So I have a Whimsicott with Lefty's Prankster, Tailwind, Moonblast, Encore, U-Turn, Max HP, bit of Special Attack, bit of Speed. Speed's there for, I think it's for Superior. I forget though. It might have been for Superior creeping on something. Don't quote me on that. But I struggled on this moveset a little bit as well, but Tailwind, rationale is Tailwind is there for in case he's an Autotomize or Rock Polish or whatever Komodo. Mind you, he cannot bring the Z Commonium whatever thing, so yeah, no Omni boosting BS, but Moonblast is there as a way to hit up the stuff like the Sharpedo and the Komodo for very good damage. I have Encore so that for a few reasons. Encore just to lock him into setup if he goes for that route, or if he just goes for a move that can't hit Whimsicott that hard, I can Encore him again. And U-Turn's just there to get initiative, since stuff like Nidoking and Stack Attacka can come into me pretty easily with this set, and Blacephalon as well. So yeah, that's a team. Let's go ahead and hop right into the battle. So here we are. He brought a team that kind of took me by surprise. I see Mega Shark, Komodo, Blacephalon, Serp, Snorlax, and Gligar. Biggest surprises to me were that he didn't bring his Azumarill. I saw it on all my mocks, and Azumarill is a very good, on paper has a pretty nice matchup against me, but I do understand why he wouldn't bring it. He brought a lot of scary mons, and just looking at the team, my assumption was going to be Fizdef, Rocks, Komodo, some sort of bulky Taunt Toxic Gligar, probably Curse or Cycle Lax, but it could be Restock. Most likely Scarf, Blacephalon, and like a substitute Leech Seed Superior, something like that, and then just a Sharpedo, which is going to click Crunch and make my team sad. So looking at it, I want to get my hazards up pretty quick, and what I lead with here, just give me a sec. So I'm gonna lead Whimsicott because I outspeed his entire team unless he's rocking Scarfers on something, and he leads Sharpedo, so this is really good for me. And in the chat we do discuss, and we both think that the rule is that this is non-speed boost Sharpedo essentially. So knowing that, I'm just going to click U-turn right here as he's going to switch out into his Lax, which is nice for me because I can get momentum, and I'm just going to go into my Skarmory so I can get a spike up because hazards are really good against his team. He goes into Komodo here, which is a pretty interesting play, wanting to get his rocks up. Now, knowing that he was most likely going for rocks, I could have fired off a Brave Bird here, which would have put this thing in 2-hit KO range of my Lopunny, but I'm just going to play it safe. I don't want to take a Flamethrower to the face. I need this thing to be healthy so I can take crunches from Sharpedo and that sort of thing. And hopefully and also take Leaf Storms and that sort of thing from Superior potentially. So I'm going to switch and go to my Reuniclus. It's very safe as he goes for the rocks. And here I'm going to click Knock Off, knowing that Snorlax or Gligar are coming in, and I'm going to be able to get rid of the Figgy Berry, which is really nice for me. So now I'm going to go hard into my Landorus because this is the best thing I have to potentially take a hit, but he's going to pull the switch out into his Sharpedo right here. Now this isn't good for me because it's not good for me. So I'm going to hard switch into my Skarm as he has no fear of me being Choice Scarf, and he's going to fire off an Ice Beam. Pretty interesting that he didn't at least scout for me to be Scarfed, but I guess he just wasn't anticipating it since Z would make a lot more sense against his team, but I did heavily consider bringing a Scarf set. So he shows Ice Beam there, and I run a quick calc, and that tells me he is min special attack. So here, knowing a Crunch is probably coming out, I'm going to click Roost, but he does show some very good prep as he clicks Taunt. Now that's not good for me because that means I can't heal up my Skarmory, and now I'm going to go out into my Whimsicott to take the oncoming Crunch, as that does a chunk of damage. I believe that this thing's confirmed Timid, or Jolly, well, most likely Naive from the damage that he just did. So here what I'm going to do is click Moonblast. In hindsight, I probably should have just clicked U-turn because I allow the Blacephalon a free switch in, and this damage doesn't tell me anything, and I don't get a special attack drop. So I'm going to go into my Hydreigon right here as he's going to fire off a Life Orb HP Ice, and this is not good. And here's where I think my being very rusty kind of hurt me, because I'm going to let my Hydreigon go down right here, which looking back on it, I should have done something that wasn't letting my Hydreigon go, because if you look at his team, Hydreigon is so good against him because he doesn't have his Azumarill, he doesn't have a single Dragon Resist, and he doesn't have anything that hits me that hard. Because he's no special attack Sharpedo, Ice Beam is not even doing half to me, so I could have taken that thing on pretty well. And this thing just got to fire off Dragon Pulses and taunt things wherever it went. So looking back on it, this was a really big mistake for me. I do find out some vital information that he is a Life Orb Blacephalon though. And knowing that, I'm kind of have the suspicion that that's going to be a Scarf Superior, because there's no way in my mind that he brings a team with no Scarfers against a Lopunny team, because knowing that he's a very good battler. So I'm going to go to my Lop here and just get the scare this thing out, as he's going to go into Komodo. And I'm going to fire off a return, as that is confirmed to be Fizdef with the Rocky Helmet, as I suspected. Now he can only come back in. He can no longer switch into my Lop, and here I'm going to make a pretty big mistake. I'm going to risk my Whimsicott, expecting him to pull some sort of double into Sharpedo, knowing that my Reuniclus is in the back, which can take this. But he's just going to fire off a very safe Flamethrower right here and get rid of my Whimsicott. So this was another mistake on my part. Definitely should have just made the safe play into Reuniclus. I knew that with that Sharpedo set, even if I lost a Mon, like I could have sacked my Skarmory, since Skarm's not going to be all too useful in this game, and I could win it with... I could do pretty well by having just Lando, Whimsicott, Reuniclus, and Lop. So I lose my Whims, which is pretty annoying because now I can't really hinder anything he's trying to do. I don't have... I only have one Mon that can outspeed the Sharpedo now. Being able to Encore lock that Gligar into something would be pretty clutch, and I believe at this point his Blacephalon's 2-hit KO'd by Moonblast, so I wouldn't have to worry about that thing coming in on me. But here I'm forced into my Landorus, and I'm going to click Sky Strike. I didn't go into Reuniclus because I didn't want to force the 50-50 and let his Sharpedo come in. So I'm just going to take out his Komodo. But now he just gets to go back into Sharpedo. And here I'm going to click EQ, thinking that he'll most likely overpredict on my Skarmory or something like that, or predict my Lopunny to come in and click like Psychic Fangs. And at this point I really didn't have a use for Landorus just because I didn't feel like I couldn't afford to lose any of my other Mons. So I just stay in here and click EQ as he overpredicts and crunches, as I do live it thanks to my HP investment, and I take out the Sharpedo. That's good because now his biggest threat to my Reuniclus is gone, as he's going to go into Serp and click Leaf Storm. Now here, I could have gone into Lopunny and clicked Return, Fake Out plus Return and knock this thing out, but I don't see leftovers on this thing, and I don't see any item, so I'm assuming that this thing is going to be Choice Scarfed. And going to Reuniclus was my safest play, because if he was like Expert Belt or something, he knocked out my Skarm with HP Fire, and then I'd lose my Skarmory without gaining anything from it. But I think this thing's Choice Scarfed, but I can't be sure. So if I was maybe looking back on it, I should have just gone Hard Skarm and Brave Birded, but I'm going to click Knock Off right here as he goes for another Leaf Storm. It does a lot, as I am going to knock off the Choice Scarf, so my intuition is correct there, as now I'm just going to sack off my Skarmory. So I guess looking back on it, I didn't need to do that, but I felt that was a play at the time, as he can now knock me out with a Hidden Power. And now all I have left is Lopunny plus Reuniclus, but I still think I have a shot to win this game. Now here, I figured he wouldn't bank off. I figured he wouldn't choke and he just let his Superior die. But he is going to switch out into Snorlax. Now here, if I did bank on the choke and clicked Power Up Punch, which was probably my best play in hindsight, if I got to +2 with Lopunny, then I just won here. But I'm going to click Fake Out, and he's at a range where I might not be able to kill him with a Pup, which I probably should have just gone for the kill, but alas, I did not. So yeah, looking back on it, I should have just clicked Power Up Punch and tried to knock this thing out. But now he's going to be able to go into his Gligar, and none of my conditions to get rid of this thing with Lop have been met. I haven't knocked it off, I haven't weakened it at all. So he's just going to be able to Toxic me right here as I go for the Power Up Punch, hoping that I can break through it with Return Crits, as he is going to Toxic me, and now he can just spam Roost against me, and Return's just not doing enough. I'm going to switch out into my Reuniclus right here, as he's going to make the Aqua Tail play, which I find pretty interesting, because I would have been able to 2-hit KO his Gligar right there. So maybe I should have just clicked Return again, though the Toxic plus the Aqua Tail damage would have racked up. He does get a crit here with the Aqua Tail, which is a little annoying just because of the fact that this puts me in range of a Leaf Storm from Superior. And if he didn't, then I'd be able to click Knock Off here and then take it out with a Signal Beam, meaning that I could potentially get another kill, possibly. But he's going to knock me out, and now I just go back into Lopunny. I can't go for the Power Up Punch, I just have to go for Return, and at this point Gligar just stalls me out, so I'm going to take the 2-0 loss. So this was a very good game. Illusion played well, he prepped well, and he got me this week. I definitely feel like I could have played better and prepped a little better. Looking back on it, just given how offensive his team was, I don't think that bringing Pup was that necessary on Lop. I could have just brought 3 attacks with Ice Punch and gotten away with it. Well, that might have even been better, just because, yeah, but I made the prep that I made, and I can't complain about it. I'm just going to talk about, like, I definitely did make some mistakes in this game, both in prep and in play. Letting both Hydreigon and Whimsicott go too early off misplays was not my best decision. looking back on it, Hydreigon really did work against his team, so I wish I didn't get rid of it, but I just didn't have the correct mindset to play this game, so I lost, and that's totally fine. Next week, well, so we're 0-1, but we only have a -2 differential, which is totally easy to come back from as long as I get back into my groove, which I feel like I'm starting to get back in as I've been playing some more practice games and doing some more stuff. But yeah, disappointed that I lost, but I definitely did not deserve to win this game based on how I played. I still think my prep was solid. Could have been tweaked a little bit, but so I do play Illusion again later in the season, so we'll see how that happens as he revealed some of his cards to me. But yeah, that's about it. So we are going to be playing Jay next week, coach of the Springfield Stallers, and that should be a good one. Hope y'all enjoyed. If you did, drop a like, leave a comment, whatever, and I'll talk to you later. Bye.